3:30 in the morning, and I am on my second night shift. We have left St. Martin at 6:30 last night to head to the British Virgin Islands. So it's about a 12 to 14 hour trip. So it's usually done overnight, so you can get there during the day. And for us, we should be arriving at around 8 o'clock this morning. We are currently 29 nautical miles from British Virgin Islands. We're over halfway. And it's been a pretty good sail all night. I've had a few boats with us, so there's a couple of boats up our starboard side that are jostling around. It's like they're in a little race over there. They're just talking to each other, going, hey, we're coming up close, we're moving over, which is nice. Everyone's very polite and friendly. But we have been pretty good so far. We've had a cruise ship go across the back. That was a bit nerve-wracking. But other than that, and one boat come towards us on my watch, which was a little bit nerve-wracking too, but that's the reality of it. So the kids so far have managed to sleep through the whole thing. It's 12 knots of wind. We're doing 6 knots sailing, so not bad. And it's been the one reach the whole way, which is nice. So sitting up here listening to an audio book, filling in the time. I can't do any reading or anything, it makes me feel a bit crook, so I thought I would listen to an audio book. Take it some sleep. We're doing 3-hour shifts. And that's what I'm doing this Friday night. We're very excited to get to the BVIs. We were in St. Martin for longer than we have been anywhere else except for Martinique. Pulling up the anchor there was so much stuff, growth from the bridle and everything. We have to give that a good clean. Have to provision and pick up some supplies and everything for the boat and get set for bigger crossings. So the plan is to go to BVIs for a week or so and then head towards the Dominican Republic, Jamaica and down to Panama. So getting excited for some big passages. Arriving into the British Virgin Islands under cloud was not exactly how we imagined it, especially when you go through a pass where you kind of need to see where you're going. But we let another boat go first. It's always a good way. And nonetheless, it was really good to be there. We dropped anchor on Virgin Gorda in a bay called Trunk Valley, which is just around the corner from the baths, the famous baths, which we would visit later on. It was a cruisy morning, getting sleep, entertaining the kids, and just chilling out. Raising that flag and going into customs and getting us set for a new country. Woohoo! Once we had checked in at Spanish Town, we headed to the baths in the afternoon. It's an incredible spot with caves and water that is so clear, it is amazing. You have to swim in, or you can come by road, but what an awesome place to explore. We actually loved it so much we went back the next day with our buddies from Patricia. It's just like a little wonderland of massive boulders that are leaning together that create all these little caves, and the water's crystal clear and just so much fun. We all had a ball. After spending 2 days exploring the baths, we moved our boats up to Eustatia Island, which is at the top end of Virgin Gorda, and just near Richard Branson's Necker Island. Absolutely beautiful spot, and it's got a great yacht club called the Bitter End Yacht Club around the corner. We spent a cool afternoon there catching up with SV Passat, the guys that we had met in St Anne, and some other crew, and just lots of fun. It was such a gorgeous evening, such a beautiful spot. Great to have the kids play with some other kids that they'd met before, and just really nice to catch up with everyone. And man, it's just magic, right? Absolutely beautiful. Now this is living. So this water was absolutely beautiful, and we even managed to do our first dive thanks to Patricia looking after our kids while Ted and I went off, and I got to use my birthday present of new scuba equipment for the first time. So again, not a huge amount of sea life, but there were some pretty cool sights, and it was really nice to get deep under the water again, and an easy cruisy dive just to get down there. Ted even spotted this beautiful eagle ray. I missed it, unfortunately. He got to see it, and I'm so glad he got to film it as well. It was fun. It was really nice to get back into scuba diving.
Northern Lights.
What is it? It's not the moon because there's nothing showing the moon.
What is it? It's the SpaceX rocket launching. We got to see it one night. It was an incredible sight once we figured out what it was. This area is just stunning. The sunsets, the sunrises, the water clarity, absolutely stunning. A lot of fun here, and I'm really super glad we went. We decided to make the move up to Anegada, which is a really low-lying island, because the wind was right and because we saw like about 50 other boats going over the last 2 days before us. So we headed out. It was a beautiful sail. Fat Paddy came along behind us and then overtook us. When we got there, the water quality wasn't great, but we still managed to have some fun. Beach barbecues, some tender surfing. And if you're interested in what that means, hold on to your hats. You're in for a ride.
Yeah. Oh, pitch like this tomorrow. Some size to it.
Boys will be boys. Lots of fun. Ted did manage to get in for a surf on a board the next morning, which was great to see. Second surf in the Caribbean after Martinique. And we managed to have a massive beach fire. Our first fire on the beach in the Caribbean. Woohoo! Done. Although we also managed to get a million prickles in our thongs and half the beach in the boat, getting back to our other boats, which was pretty awful, having to clean it out the next day. But a lot of fun was had, and it was good to tick that bucket list off. The next day we decided to head south down to Scrub Island, where yachties can jump in the pool. Unfortunately, even though it did have a water slide, we ended up with a couple of injuries. So Sienna cut her finger, Finley ended up with a piece of tile in his toe. Ouch. So we headed out to Peter Island, where Patricia got her boom out, and there was a competition to see if you could make it to the end of the boom before jumping in the water or falling in the water. Ted was the first one to do it. Martha, ever competitive, followed soon after. It was a lot of fun to watch. We also stopped at Salt Island where we snorkeled on a wreck called the Rhone. So the Rhone was a steamship where in 1867 it picked up some passengers off another ship because there was a hurricane coming and it thought it was going to get out. But the track that it took meant the hurricane hit it harder. And in those days, they used to strap passengers to their beds in hurricane season. So unfortunately, only one passenger survived, 21 crew survived, but 125 lives were lost. You can see the propeller there. It's incredible. And the spine of the ship is amazing to see it. It's slowly being reclaimed from the sea. Horrible way to go being strapped to your bed, I'd have to imagine. But amazing opportunity to dive or snorkel on a wreck. Woohoo! We then headed to Norman Island. The BVIs is made up of lots of little islands, as well as some of bigger ones, and it's quite cool to just be able to go there within, an hour or so sail, or motor across between the two. So the kids had an absolute ball in this area where we were. We called it the caves. So lots of different caves along the shore that you could snorkel in and have a look. We met up, obviously, we were still with our buddy boat, Patricia, so we had a lot of fun on their boat, enjoying the sunset and the cruise ships that were around us, and just enjoyed the beach.
What would you like to do, Zoe?
I'd like to bring this one.
And what are you going to do with it?
I'm going to collect some like these.
That's a good idea. You can have a collection. We'll put it with a shell collection. Fun pastime. Looking for good looking rocks and good looking shells. You found any, Sienna? No? Yeah. Keep looking. Beautiful beach. We're at the caves and the BVIs. There's a few charter boats through here, but it's just a beautiful place to be. There's only a couple in Anchorage last night, but why would you not? It is beautiful.
Martha and I decided to get up early one morning and go for a walk to the top of the mountain, and wow, the views certainly didn't disappoint. We also managed to find the island's farm for the restaurant or the yacht club that was there. It was a really little ingenious design, and someone had obviously cared for it very much. The rest of our time here was spent on little recreational activities like foiling, surfing, and we met up with SV Desiree as well, and got their kids and husbands on the boards, enjoying life. So it was a little bit rainy, but a lot of fun all the same. Our next stop was the main port of Road Town, where we needed to check out, and the other guys went over to the USVIs quickly to get their visas. We weren't doing that, so we chilled out there for a while, got our radio fixed, etc. On our last day, we went out to a place called the Indians. It was an absolutely cracking day. It was still as anything, and it's an amazing snorkeling spot, which we had passed on the way to Norman Island. We stopped there, we did some homeschooling in the most amazing spot I think you can homeschool. And then after that, we went down under the water for our last little snorkel in the BVIs. Refueled, checked out, we'd said goodbye to our buddy boat for a while as they go into the USVIs, and we are heading to Panama. Our first big passage as a family, 8 days across the Caribbean. We finally said goodbye to the British Virgin Islands and ready to do this. Let's go! Hope you can join us. Bye.